Hey, welcome back, Beast in the Kitchen. It's been a while. I've been away traveling. You know, it'd be great to be back here in Tcam Studios in Taunton, Mass. But we're gonna make an easy one for you because my friend Ken yesterday asked me about recipes for ricotta. I said, do you ever make your own ricotta? He said, no, I haven't. Well, I'm gonna show you now. It's easy, and you're literally making two things out of this. And it's all stuff you probably have at home anyway. So let's get started. Milk, of course, whole milk we want to use. This is my cheap versions that I buy in a box. First, let me get this turned on. And I want to use about 5 cups, so I won't use all. I'll use one whole and half of this next one here. And when you make ricotta, it's kind of like when you're cooking down spinach. You start out with a lot and you end up with a little. But that's okay, because you also get the residual whey, which is the buttermilk afterwards, that we can use for something else. And that's always good. You know, if you want to get creative, I mean, you can go out and buy it, but if you already got whole milk and it's something you buy all the time, I make pizza a lot, I make calzones a lot, so this is what I want to do here. All right, this is the simplest thing. All right, we got this thing going. Definitely, if you have a thermometer, you should use it. You don't need it, but it's easy to use. And this is just kosher salt. So I'm gonna give this little sucker a stir. Now, usually when you make this or any type of like scalding milk or anything, you notice the bottom always burns. There's a way around that. What you do is before you start any type of heating up milk or cream, take your pan and throw some cold water in it, wish it through and out. It kind of gives it like a little protective bottom from it burning. So it's a good little trick that I learned. Now basically in cheese making, it's always adding some kind of an acid to it. Now with this, it's either gonna be vinegar or lemon juice. And I always have a ton of vinegar. So when I make it, I use that. So I got my vinegar right here. Here is my thermometer. When you're making ricotta, you wanna get it at 175 to 185. Anything over that, you're really going too high. Let's see where we're going here. Alright, we're not really moving too far, so I'm gonna raise heat a little bit. Give it a stir on while we're doing this. It's pretty quick too. It doesn't take too long. You don't want to wait till it's like boiling. You want to get it just as it is. Having a thermometer is a good thing to have in the house anyways, especially if you're cooking poultry or anything like that. Or if you're doing any kind of candy making with your kids or by yourself, because I live alone with my dog. All right, let's try this again. Yeah, we're getting there. Let's give it a little bit. Enjoy this musical interlude. Raise it a little bit higher. We're close. Not quite. I thought we were. Like 40-something degrees to go. I try not to start milk too high because then it'll get too hot like quickly. I try to do it gradually. Almost there. There's like 20 degrees to go. One cool thing about this is if you want to make cream cheese, it's basically the same recipe. You just take the ricotta you made afterwards, put it in a blender with some butter, and that's cream cheese, believe it or not. You have to have a lot of patience, and it's one of those things you can't walk away from. Yeah, you don't want to go switch out laundry while doing this, let's just say. toaster and we should be there. It was literally on the line. I do it as soon as it gets to the 175-ish range. So what's gonna happen next? Beautiful, 179. Off, onto here. About 4 tablespoons of vinegar. I always eyeball it, or lemon juice, whatever you're using. Stir it real quick. Let this sit and it'll make the curds. So we'll wait a little bit. Like I said, this doesn't make a lot. You gotta make it accordingly. So a gallon of whole milk is about 2 pounds of ricotta. 2 of those containers that you usually get in the store. The ones in the store, the small ones are like 15 ounces. It's about 2 of those, just about. And this is what happens. You gotta let this sit for about 20 minutes so the curds can develop. Don't do this too soon. You stir it once with the vinegar, let it settle, because we don't want to go back in and start stirring because you're gonna break them. And you're gonna see like a yellowish, greenish liquid in there. That is the whey, that's the buttermilk. So, and like I said, once you put the vinegar in, you take it off the heat. Once it gets to that 175, 285, off the heat. And just leave it like on another stovetop or something, or like what I just did here. But, you know, and like I was saying, you make 2 things out of it. With, you know, you have your ricotta that you're gonna make a bunch of things with, and then you have the whey, which you can use for marinades, you can use for, you know, I use it to cook rice, believe it or not. I use it also for, believe it or not, some people drink it, but I don't recommend it. But some people put it in their cereal and things like that. But it, anything that replaces like water, you know, I've done it for pizza dough, and it works really well. It gives, you know, we don't want to waste it because you don't make, because you have to use a lot of milk to make a small amount of ricotta. So you want to keep that to you know, use it for something. But now we got to go drain this, and I'm gonna head over to the sink. All right, so I have here, you want the bowl for the whey, a strainer, and a cheesecloth. You don't need the cheesecloth. I'm just showing you with it because that's traditional. I bought the cheesecloth and I don't even use it because the strainer I have is very fine. So, and then I just use a rubber spatula to get it all out. But now we got this. I'm gonna pour this in. As you can see, I know it's kind of sitting in it, but what I'm gonna do is this. And we're gonna let this drain out. And I'm back. You gotta let that drain for a bit. I didn't kind of let it drain too much, it's still a little watery. It makes a lot more of this, but I figured instead of showing you that, I'd show you the aftermath of what I made. So I actually made some pizza with it. This one has ricotta and mozzarella. I like the cheese a little well done myself, that's why it's a little bit darker. And that's what this one is, balsamic onions. So, and that's what you can make with it. And as I was telling you earlier, I did make some rice with that leftover buttermilk, and I can show you something else you can make with that rice. Stick around.
Chris Domine is a husband, father, and athlete because a kidney transplant gave him a second chance at life, made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Learn more and sign up as a donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Selfless service is the guiding principle of every Army National Guard soldier. They have a stake in the well-being of the neighborhoods where they live and work. To be an Army National Guard soldier is to serve something greater than yourself. Learn more at nationalguard.com.
Just like I promised, I'll show you something I did with that buttermilk. I made this rice. It's cold now. And this is a good recipe to have with anything leftover rice. And you don't have to do it exactly the way I do it. You can mix and match anything you want because this is your life. I'm telling you, a quick fried rice. I'm not playing here. We got our wok going. I heat up some oil, some basic oil that I got from the dollar store. That's soybean oil. I think it's got like olive oil in it somewhere, maybe 2%. But we're gonna get this sucker going. Hopefully I don't burn the studio down. Let that heat up. Switch that puppy around a bit. This burner works a little bit quicker, so yours at home might not. So you see certain things start smoking quicker. It's because I'm using an induction burner. And what I like about this too, it's quick, simple, it's hearty. I know a lot of people complain about the price of food, and I know everything's outrageous, eggs are outrageous, everything's outrageous, rents are outrageous. I can't believe, I don't know how people could even still have a place to live. But if we can cut back a little bit here and there, see it's already coming. Onions. Lower the heat. Onions. Onions till translucent, not adding color. Now usually a lot of times people will do the egg in advance. They'll cook the egg, take it out, then throw it in. But I have a friend that's Cambodian and she told me that you just cook the egg right in it. I'm like, you serious? Yeah. So I've been doing it that way ever since. And I'll show you that. This is gonna go for like just a couple minutes. Like I said, translucent, soft, you know, we're sweating them. We're not adding any color to them. Try to lower that heat a little bit. Wok cooking is usually like high heat, really fast. You know, that's why your food comes out really quick in a restaurant. In a Chinese restaurant. If you ever watch those videos on YouTube, it's pretty cool. Like the outdoor vendors doing the wok stuff. It's pretty interesting. Find some seasoning I like, if I can find it. Anything that interests me, anything that interests me. A little cayenne interests me. I'm just gonna add a little bit of that in there, just a smidge. Just a smidge. I already threw salt and pepper in there, so. Check the onions here. I got the wrong spatula. I got the rubber spatula. I wanted the other one, but yeah, this is what happens when you have too many shows going on at once. Go for a bit. Now these are nice and soft. Add some egg to it now. 2. I know everyone gives me grief to say it's not really what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to crack eggs on there. You're supposed to do it on the counter. But it's like, it's right here. It's in my area. I know, but what the heck? It's like you went to culinary school and you do it that way. It's okay. Learn as we go along. I never said I was perfect. I'm gonna turn up the heat a little bit as it cooled down. Scramble some eggs. This is what she told me. She said, just cook it right in with the rice, right in with the egg. Don't even add the, don't have to cook it in advance. So I said, all right. While it's still totally cooking, I'm gonna add in the rice. Egg is still not totally cooked, but as she told me, add in the rice. I swear I do fried rice every time I have some type of leftover rice. And I cook rice a lot. I buy it by the 25-pound bag. I'll give it a scrape to the bottom as well, but that's okay. This is what happens, kids, when you think you have something at the studio and you don't. Throw it ahead a regular spatula. Get that incorporated. Now I always add a little bit of powdered ginger. I don't use regular ginger a lot, so I use powdered a lot. But you can buy fresh. Certain recipes I'll use fresh, but you only need very little. We do some cayenne, we got that in there. Now, of course, some soy sauce. Some people might add some other stuff, but I keep it basic. Soy sauce from the dollar store. Always works. Usually if this is like a high heat or something, I would be flipping it, but we're not flipping it today. This is this is an induction burner. I think I'll make a difference. A lot of people like it. And I used to think this too. It's like, how come in the Asian restaurants it's so much darker than mine? But then I realized in culinary school that they sometimes use like the liquid browning. They showed it to us, and I've seen it. It looks like the bottle of, it's like Gravy Master. They'll use that. I've seen, that's what they told me. I don't know which restaurants do it. I'm not calling people out. I'm not saying you shouldn't use it, but it's like a quick way of making things look good. I actually did work somewhere that they used it in something, and I can't remember now. It's the only place I knew they used to make pepper steak or Asian steak. Had no Asian ingredients in it. Oh no, who knew? But then again, that was mass cooking, so. Then I had leftover peas, but I've done this with broccoli. You can do this with mixed vegetables. You can do this with nothing. Doesn't have to have anything else added to it if you don't want it. This is your life, don't ever forget it. I cook on my own terms, and you heat those through. And here we go, we got our fried rice with leftovers. We got a ricotta that's in this pizza. For some reason, when pizza's cold, it's a pain in the ass to cut. So, and that's it. And I'll be back again soon. Please, if you're on my YouTube channel, subscribe. If not on here, please sponsor Tcam TV. You know, keep the lights on here for them. It's a great place. I enjoy doing this. I've been doing this, I think, 5 or 6 years now. So, and yeah, you everyone have a great rest of your day. Take care.